Hopefully you guys didn't hear me move my mic. That would have been real bad. Anyways, I think we're at the trial. Hopefully. I think we had time up. Yes. The last. Should I do the? Nah, I shouldn't name it that. I was gonna be like, ooh, but that sounds very daring for me to jump on that so quickly. Maybe it's like it could be, and like the trial is a mystery, so maybe it's not a clash trial. But still, I do not know. Anyways, also I have a little bit of a baby headache, and and the only medicine at my store was Tylenol, but it was the sweet coating one. And when I was a kid, I hated it. It tasted awful. But now it's like, yeah, okay, which is very funny because I was scared I was going to have it and I'd just be like, ugh, like untakeable. But nope, it's fine. Completely unrelated to anything going on, but related to me because I just did that. So hopefully it works. Usually we have Motrin, so also hopefully it works. Anyways, well, usually we have both, but anyways, the last clash trial. He said that right. He said the last clash trial. Are we? Nah. I don't know why I'm like, are we reading the future somehow? Because it's like he knows this last trial. He thinks something else, but I don't know why I'm like, do we know? But I don't know the why of that if that has any base whatsoever. He said the last class trial.
Yep.
Yeah, I heard it too. He really did say it was the last class trial. What do you think? Should we believe him?
Um,
Monokuma seemed anxious about the Monokuma timer earlier, right? 2 more days. And he said something about the killing school trip ending, right? I still don't know how it's going to happen, but I really thought that Chiaki would um not make it to the end because she said that in your final hangout with her. So I'm like, oh boy, she's not gonna. And then she said it again later, and but I don't know how that wraps in together based on the time limit because she isn't, to my opinion, someone who would torture someone and then force them to possibly kill themselves. Based on. I laugh so dumb. It's great. Anyways, I don't think I laughed that dumb when I didn't have a deep voice. I think just that same laugh, deep, sounds dumb. Anyways, based on the time limit, this might definitely be the last one.
but still,
But I can't imagine that it's the real end. Huh? I think Monokuma's real plan might be just beyond that. Like in chapter 6, his real plan. Is Monokuma still planning to make us do something? What could it be? Maybe, after putting us through all this, he's planning to kill the remaining survivors all at once?
well,
But still, it's also not a good. But still, it's also not a good idea to think about it too much. I think. Has she ever not said I think? Because I wonder if you go and like anytime she was like 100% certain, I wonder if that meant something. Because it's cute. I like when people or characters have how they speak versus like a different way, and for reading it the first time or watching it, you don't notice, but then when you go back, you're like, oh, they did do that. I can't grab that. There was an example, but gone. Anyways, I think we should focus on the class trial that's waiting for us first. You're right. A class trial for Nagito's murder. I still don't believe it. He's not dead somehow. I really just somehow, there's more. There's more to it. Maybe it's the ultimate impersonator, imposter. The ultimate imposter. Don't know, but there's more. Also, they really just brought Brock in here just what to screw with us. Like, that would have been really funny. Like, it's just like, yeah, here's Braca. JK. So, like, I wonder if that was, like, because they said you're wasting your time thinking about Braca. I wonder if that meant we're wasting our time thinking about, like, he was talking to us, the player, not us, Hajime. Yeah, Hajime, it's on screen. We're pretty screwed. I haven't collected my thoughts because we were so focused on this file. I I still can't see who killed Nagito.
But still,
We never could. It's not the trial yet. I don't think once Hajime's like, I got this. So, we really don't have a talent. So we're the same. We're the same as the main character in the first game, having no talent. But apparently, luck is a tangible thing for Nagito. Because I was about to be like, we're on the same page as Nagito, technically, but that's incorrect. And also, we didn't, I guess, technically go in to Hope's Peak. Anyways, I really don't trust and there's no concrete reason. I don't, but I just like, oh yeah, we had the two ultimate despair people. Like, what's the dean, not the dean, the headmaster, that's what you call it. The headmaster really was like, yeah, we got these two people called the ultimate despairs, but it's totally fine. And it's like, bro, were you in on this? What's going on? Were you just really screwed over here? Was he just a really good guy and I'm blaming him? Probably, but... Well, you don't have to worry so much. Huh?
right?
I mean, we're not fighting this alone, you know? You're right. You're absolutely right. We're not alone. Even if it's a mystery that can't be solved alone, as long as everyone cooperates and works together. Yeah, if we do that, things will turn out fine. Are we on en at Are we at odds with each other? I don't think so. But last game, I almost said chapter. I'm like, nope. Last game, Monokuma handed out those photos. But that might have been before the very last trial, not the 5th trial. Where am I going? This way. Not the 5th trial, so maybe that's a thing about us breaking apart before the last trial, if he does the same tricks. I just checked on you. You're fine. Should I? No, we were going to still walk around. I was like, should I walk around some more? It's like, you're not ending the game. You're ending chapter 5, and even then, it isn't the end. I assume we can walk, what, 68 steps.
Damn right.
Look like everyone's here.
Huh?
Looks like everyone's here. Please enunciate a little bit. I'm... Huh? Is this it? Shouldn't there be more people?
Damn it.
Stop it, you're making me depressed.
Stupid fool.
I can't do robot voices. Like, wouldn't even know where to start. Anyways, you're making me depressed. So I just won't. So, is, so, it is going to happen again. The cruel conflict where we must doubt our friends. I can read, I swear. But, once we're through this, we can go back, right? That Monokuma bastard said so, didn't he? He said this was the last last class trial. We're not out of school. But, sorry, my nose is itchy. Yeah. But we've been tricked every step of the way. There's no way we can believe that so easily.
Of course not.
Why can't we believe it? The guy's... why can't we believe it? The guy who's making us do all this is the one saying it, you know?
You know,
That's why I'll definitely survive. If we can really, if we can really go home after we deal with this glass trial,
that's right.
I'll definitely find out who the killer is, no matter what, even if I have to pull out all the stops. Yes, here's my hot take. It's not Soda. He's not. You would have to plan it, he would have to know it. Well, he does know machinery, so he does know how to time things probably, but like, he would have had to set that all up, not leave any clues of anything. I don't think it's him. Some reason, I think there was like one line or a few lines. I wonder if Sonia is the traitor somehow and he's covering for her, or I don't think she would be the killer, but honest again, she's the only one that didn't have a surprise personality, I think. Unless her personality being the way she is supposed to be the surprise personality, because usually there's if I don't know. Usually if they have an outrageous, really one-way personality, there's usually a twist. The dumb ones are typically just dumb. Like Yasuhiro and Soda. But with people like Hiyako, she looks cute. She's actually mean, but she isn't going to kill anyone. You know what I'm saying? But with Sonia, she's kind of just there. I don't know. Something about her. Maybe it's because she hasn't. I don't know. She's not even my least favorite character. That's Teru. But she doesn't have anything to do. I don't think she really had anything for this story besides like two sub places. But maybe she was just for fun. Anyways. Oh wait, what did it say? Did I read that? Probably. Probably. Oh yeah.
You.
What the fuck? Why are you here? She's angry. You haven't realized it yet? That feeling of wanting to leave this island? Thinking like that is Monokuma's trap, you know?
Huh?
Huh? What are you saying?
Got it?
There's no way Monokuma will end things here. He's planning something far worse. She's not crying. She's upset. He's planning something far worse. Stop trying to jinx us.
I'll pick you up.
Damn right. Stupid rabbit should just shut up. Everyone, we mustn't run away from despair. I've finally realized, after losing my powers, I've realized that cursing your own powerlessness or your fate, or your fate. Oh, okay, I got it. Those are together. I've realized that cursing your powerlessness or your fate accomplishes nothing. The possibility may be small, but as long as there's a possibility, you must face it in order to become someone who can be proud of yourself. Proud of yourself? Proud of themselves? I guess, I don't know. I ain't a scholar. So, I will fight.
Huh?
What's her deal?
Um,
I don't really know, but she seems different from before. Maybe she read a self-help book.
wait.
But her eyes, she looked so determined.
You.
What can you what can you tell just by looking at those button eyes? Anyways, make sure you turn off. Oh yeah, okay, I was like, what? Who? What? A machine? Anyways, make sure you turn off Minimaru. It'll be annoying if he starts talking during the class trial. It doesn't even say class, it just says the trial. Oh, fine.
But still.
Somehow, I don't understand what I understand what she does understand. Somehow I understand what Monomi is saying, I think. Anyways, let's get going to the last class trial.
Yep.
You're right. We need to fight as much as we can. No matter what hopeless truth awaits us in the end. Does she know something? Hmm. Hmm. Ooh, don't hit my desk. Well, this is the end. There's probably at least 10 more episodes. I keep saying those words to myself over and over within my mind. I entered Monokuma Rock. Any guesses to the murderer or to the traitor or both? The same? I don't know. I'm confused. Either. Fujiko is fine. Soda's fine. Akane's fine. I want to say it's probably Sonya. Did I mess up? Soda. Soda's fine. Sonya is confusing to me. I don't understand her. I just talked about it actually. But then Chiaki, I know something's gonna happen to her. So she's there being like, something's happening with her. I know it. She had said it twice now that she's not making it. I don't know how she ties in. I do not think she would stab someone in the leg a bunch of times or slice their arm open. Now Sonya, she's a wild card. She could have. But it is weird that I don't know if Soda's supposed to be suspicious because he like didn't want to swipe his card, or if they're trying to do a fake out, or if he's protecting Sonya in some way, because that could be interesting route. Because again, that's been the whole freaking game, was him protecting her, or well, being after her. And it would be interesting if she had a role and he was protecting her and trying to throw us off the course. Don't know if that's true. I, again, can feel Chiaki. Something's up. There's too much. I think she even... There was multiple lines where I'm like, okay, nah. But I don't know if that's here or if it's in the next chapter. Like a sacrifice for a sacrifice. Like, she sacrifices herself for us, or against Monokuma, or whatever. And also, I kind of want to say for killer-wise, kind of want to blame Nagito on himself right now, and I don't know if that's going to be rude for him, but he had the thingy in his hand, so I don't know if he got set up somehow, or he got just assistance, or what. But I feel like technically the final blow would be himself. But it also didn't say the kill, and I think we were like, oh, the spear is obvious, so I think it has to do with the poison, but then I don't understand where that is, but maybe that comes in later, because he's a very thoughtful man. Thoughtful? That sounds like he's very kind. No, very intelligent, well thought out man. And if he put that in the old, which I'm assuming we get to, the ancient ruins next chapter, because it's the only place we have not investigated yet. If you put the poison in there somehow, in a trap, killing someone, he would do that too. You know what I'm saying? And we're supposed to, like, forget about it. But I think it was a truth bullet, so it probably is going to come up in one way, shape, or form. Because I think if it wasn't pertinent to this trial, we would see it, no truth bullet, and then we would just forget it. I think they try to forget, they're like, oh yeah, that's not important, don't pay attention, and they'll just like have a line somewhere. But it was very obvious part of this trial or investigation, so I want to say it has something to do with here, but I don't know. This elevator ride. And the problem is, it's very... With some of this, with a lot of my Danganronpa ideas, it's none of my brain is working. It's just how video games is played. is how I think about it, and I feel like it's a very meta or cheap way of doing it, or meta and a cheap way of doing it, because I'm like, oh, especially before, it's like, oh, well, Fujihiko didn't do it. We couldn't hang out with him. So if, I know Soda wasn't it at first because we couldn't finish his bar either for the first trial and stuff like that. Where I'm like, if Akane also, then I'll be like, oh, well, Akane didn't do it. You know what I'm saying? Where I could have been wrong because apparently they can die without being full friendship. But any guesses I had was all metagaming. It was just, that was it. It was all just like, oh, well, logically, if game does this, game will do blank, you know? I should have said does that. If the game does this, then the game will do this. That. Whatever. This elevator ride. This will be the last time for this too, right? I don't know if it's going to be the last elevator ride, Soda. I feel like there's more, but maybe it. Maybe that's the game telling us, like, this is it, guys. Or it's a psych out. So, again, the only thing is, Sonia, again, I'm gonna keep saying it, didn't have much to do with the plot. It is very, like, character-wise, it's odd that she made it. Like, she was, Soda did stuff that moved the plot because of Sonia. She was going to the beach, so he's like, let's go to the cafe. So we were in the cafe when Mahiru died. So it's like, she wasn't part of it though. And then like last time it's like, well, I didn't hear anything, and I was in the deluxe suite. But there was two other people that said the same thing, so it wasn't her exclusive. So even there, she wasn't really helpful. So I'm like, okay, she isn't really doing anything. So I don't know if she has to be here for a reason or what. I also don't know if I've ever seen her. I think I've seen her in relation to people talking about Gundam. I don't know if I have ever seen people posting just about her, but she's, no offense, kind of basic, that I wouldn't be surprised if I just overlooked her. Like, not basic, like, it's just, if I saw her, she could be anyone. Like, in fan art, or in depictions, or in any, like, even a picture. She doesn't stand out too much versus Ibuki and Gundam. You know what I'm saying? They kind of stick out a little bit more. Like, even Soda, which I'm surprised I didn't see anything of Soda, and the fact that he's here, I'm like, whoa. Because I think I would have recognized him. But anyways, I'm like, I want to dye my hair, because I just want to. And I have a lot of green dye, because we bought a bunch of green, previously. So I think it's going to be green, but I'm also unsure, blah, blah, about things. It doesn't matter. But now I'm like, what if pink hair? But I think pink hair does not suit me in any way, shape, or form. But I'm just now imagining just being like, I have a black beanie, but I don't have a yellow thing. And I'm like, no, stop trying to dress like him. Just, but in a, like, not an actual mechanic way, but in a slightly different way, a different alternative. Anyways, I hope so.
Well,
Don't worry about things. Let's worry about things after we're finished.
you are right.
More importantly, we must focus on the class trial before us. Oh, you know what? I lied. She was important in the second one because she brought up the serial killer plot that did nothing anyways. Literally not a thing. The only thing that was brought into is the fact that they wanted it to be tied into the first game, which I don't know why. I think just for fun, but like it was kind of not felt like a reason. For me, that was one of the like low moments for me. I don't know why. Maybe other people liked it. I did not like Peko pretending to be that serial killer. And to my knowledge, it has not come up. So unless it did, for some reason, if it does, but it would be weird if it does. Anyways, um, yeah, it just was. I think for me, the rest of that trial was so heartwarming, or like, I don't know, like, you learn so much about Fujiko and Peko and stuff like that, and it's kind of like the Tera Tera moment with his mom, and I was like, oh, okay, but with that moment, it belittled it, or it pulled it down. It was, you just, like, the sheet under it all, you just yanked it out, and it crumbled a little bit for me. Like, if there wasn't that, I think that would have been my favorite kind of moment. It was Fujiko obviously stole part of my heart with his sister and not knowing things, and that's a really big thing, and I obviously have siblings, and I don't know if you love your sibling. No, I'm kidding. But like, that would be horrifying. It's like, oh my god, I'm in such a dangerous situation. She might have even took over for me. She could be dead, and then then knowing this next trial that she is dead, and then having Peko there, and then later he was crying because of it and everything. It just, like, and you took it all away. It was just felt so unnecessary. I I think that moment of pretending to be a serial killer was to tie it into the reveal that there was a serial killer amongst them in the first game. But the thing is, apparently Peko did kill people as a hitman, like as a bodyguard. I don't remember what they called her. Like, she did kill people. She was a serial, well, definition of a serial killer is wildly different. Um, but I'm using it in the loose term, not the actual term. The in the loose term, killing multiple people throughout your, like, murder career. She did that. She was a serial killer. Why do we have to bring in a fake serial killer? So unless that fake serial killer comes in the third one, or in the other things, or it loops back in here somehow or something, it was unnecessary. And it really took away such a sincere moment for me with Fujiko. And I honestly did not care for Peko until that, and then having that was like, oh boy, I really don't, like, goodbye. I was literally like, bye, I'm done, thank you. But then Fujiko and that bond brought her back a little bit. But it was just like, anyways, I don't know if I mentioned it when we played that part or not, but it was not where so if you're like, don't even know what they were doing with it, I'm assuming it doesn't come back, at least in this one. And I'm just like, I'm disappointed, because that was, I think, one of the lowest prolonged moments of this game for me, I want to say. Yeah, I'm going to stick with it. I'm going to stick with that one. It was probably the lowest, like, story-based thing, not like a scene, not a line, but an actual story plot. It was just unnecessary. Yeah. It did give Sonya that much of a personality, though, which I don't know why I don't like Sonya. I feel bad, and I want to know maybe if it's if I'm off, but for some reason I'm just not feeling her. I like, maybe I just need to hang out with her, like that in the post game, but in the game, I'm not feeling like her. Like, I knew I liked Fujiko before I hung out with him. Akane, game wise, I didn't like her, character wise, whatever. Even Soda now, it's like, okay, get a personality, but like, he had in the beginning, I think, more of, like, to him. I don't know why, but maybe it was just because now it's just so long. But Chiaki I hung out with first, so I can't really say anything about anything, but I assume since we hung out with her so much, you would get a personality from her, even if you didn't hang out with her. But Sonya, nah, Not really getting anything. The killer managed to kill someone like Nagito. There's no way this is going to go smoothly. I mean, I still can't believe one of us was able to do that. I want to say we didn't do it. I really want to bank on him setting up a plot and or having him kill himself in some way, shape, or form. Or really, really sadistic, hold on to this until you die and someone did something really horrific. And if it was that, I'm really intrigued who did it. Because from, again, what I said, none of them gave me that vibe. The only one is Sonia, because I didn't get anything from her. Anyways, did you know who the killer was? Just a yes or no. If you're like, no, I knew. No, I know. No, I knew. Oh, yeah. Nagito was problematic in many ways, but he was also a valuable asset during the trials. Yeah, for this trial. If you knew who the... I know you knew who the traitor was, so even if you knew... Yes, I knew who the killer was. It won't give me away too much. Yeah, you're right. In fact, during the Funhouse ordeal, we were completely dependent on him. You knew the black... Okay, wow. Okay, I'm feeling stupid. I don't know who the traitor is, nor the killer. Okay. During the Funhouse ordeal, we were completely dependent on him. But even if he's gone, the ones who've survived need to stand and fight. We must fight. That was such a long elevator ride for them. I feel so bad. So you knew who it did it, but you didn't know how they did it. Okay, interesting. Very interesting. Okay. And then the door slowly opened. This bright light greeting us. Is that the light of hope? No, it's a light bulb, you idiot. Or the light of despair. Interesting. Ooh, it's very industrial. Well then, now that chatterbox Nagito is gone, there are only 6 of you left. I always felt like whenever I would write that, it always just seems so silly. And I think there was like another English way of doing it too, like double word, and it's like that.
Shut the hell up!
Enough! Just fucking start this already. Okay, jeez. Hey, yeah, it does say hey. Whoa, he's accusing me. Hey, this is it, right? This is really the last class trial, right?
Yep.
Yep, it sure is. So, you're gonna show some enthusiasm and make sure you give it your all. Also, I'm probably not gonna do half the trial right now. I played Pokemon all day. So we're gonna do this trial in like 3 chunks or more. Because I want to get up tomorrow for something, and it's late, and I wasted so much time playing Pokemon. Wasted. I caught a lot of cool Pokemon. I absolutely love this new game. I wish I played it. I wish I could have the system or the setup to play it on stream, but I also want to eat potato chips and eat it, eat it, play it, and eat them. Yes, I want to eat potato chips, play some Pokemon off stream, but I also really love doing this, but I'm like, I'm not going to come here and do like the main plot because I'm just doing willy-nilly, middle of the night, 11 in the morning to right now playing Pokemon, you know what I'm saying? Listen, I love it. I just go around just throwing Pokeballs and at everything. I learned how to swim. Spoilers. I don't. No, you watched her. You watched the person. She finished it, and I'm like, oh my god, she finished the game. It's true. It's true. If it was completely not Petco in that one, it would have been like, oh yeah. You see, that's what I'm saying. I don't wanna belittle her, but and because she didn't instantly rub me the wrong way, but I felt like, oh, there might be something here that might be interesting. But like, ooh, she's pretending to be all proper, but really she's like, for lack of better word, we're going to use internet word, like very feral. um, but it hasn't happened, so I'm kind of like, oh, but maybe she is really this. But I think they kind of hinted or like kind of had that in the second one where she was really into serial killers. So, um, she's low middle of my list. Um, okay, her story is interesting. Again, I think the thing is, some of these characters have interesting stories on their own, but they're not tied into the main story. Because I think with Fujiko, it was tied into the main story. He mentioned his sister. He mentioned Peko. He mentioned, like, these are all brought in. Hers was not fluffed up into the main story. Even Akane's kind of like was later on in the funhouse. She mentioned this is a better place than my house, and it's like, oh, that's interesting. That shows who she is or where she grew up. Kind of things where constantly Gundam, and I didn't hang out with him, but I'm assuming, um, he mentioned so much about like not being wanted, but then clearly he wants to be included and stuff like that. It kind of shows who he is and where he came from. But with Sonya, it was like, yes, I'm from a military country, and it's like, oh, that's cool. I'm good though. Like we're so like I don't know. So I think I definitely should, whenever I have time, whenever I'm not binging Pokemon, come here at my computer and play some of their stories. I never do. If I'm here playing a different game, I'm playing a shooter game that it isn't story based. But anyways, so you're gonna show some enthusiasm and make sure you give it your all. Didn't I tell you? He said it. This is the end.
Now then.
Now then, let's get this let's get this trial started.
Killing!
This is the last class trial. Let's show some enthusiasm and kill each other. Like, I'm just gonna kill somebody? Like, just stab them? This is the 5th class trial. According to Monokuma, this is also the last class trial. That curtain is about to rise. Nagito Kamaida, the ultimate lucky student. Oh, he looks so soft. So innocent. Versus dead. When I first met him, I thought he was a nice guy. He came across very sociable. I already knew his twist, so. But his true nature held such a. So anyways, what I was saying is, or what I was just thinking, is I wonder how, because for all these other cases, they bring up how great the killer slash the victim is, and usually it's both. So I'm like, are we gonna suddenly be like, oh man, he was so great? So I'm like, I hope that doesn't happen. Anyways, but his true nature, because it would be weird if we're like, it not weird because that's how life is, like that's how humans are. You're like, oh, but in hindsight, he shouldn't have died, or oh, that was horrible. Wish he was still here. You know what I'm saying? But I hope the gameplay doesn't feel like we're like retconning who he was. Anyways, but his true nature held such a demented thought process that it was nothing like his outer appearance. He said he believed in hope more than anything else. He said he also, well, no, we didn't have the. I was gonna be like, we could have done the fun house if Jockey didn't stop us, but no, we might have accidentally, would have died, with that whole Russian roulette. Anyways, he said he was yearning for. Do you think Monokuma would have just never let me out if I just shot all the bullets and then loaded it with the empty shells and then shot them again, or I feel like he would have personally tried to kill me, you know? Because he's like, stop it. Or he would have just let me starve to death. Anyways, he said he was yearning for the powerful hope that can overcome any despair. He said he would even help despair just to prove, just to prove that hope will never lose to despair. And he said he'd become a stepping stone for hope. His way of thinking was completely screwed up. But there were also times he saved us too. Someone like him was killed. That was the end of him. Also, the reason why I think he did it himself is because they mentioned previously, and I thought it was to. They said so what they did is they mentioned so many times. First trial was this stabbing. Second trial was this. Third trial, like hit in the head. Third trial was a double murder. Fourth trial was blah blah. But what they did was say that the last trial was like the last class trial or the last whatever was a suicide, and it would be interesting if they were saying this one was. Like I thought it was because you mentioned that you're like, oh well, because Nekomara moved, he did it to himself. But what if they were actually saying this one? And that one was a psych out. That was like, ha, it just happened. Also, in the movie theater, in the movie, it was a robot disassembled, and he was disassembled, which I mentioned earlier, right when I started. Is this, like, does he know what's going to happen? Like, does Monokuma know? Because, like, a robot got disassembled, and then he mentioned something else, and, like, they all add up, and is he controlling how things happen, or is it just pure luck? I was going to say luck, but luck is a real tangible thing here. Like, yeah, so does he know? Or because okay, the very beginning of this, I said, oh, well, these characters kind of look like the same characters, but obviously the obvious one was Braga. So what happened is, I said, are they just a reskin of the first game? And now they're all adding up. So I'm like, is this like a weird reskin of just the first game? Like, are these the first things? But obviously, character-wise and murderer and person by person, it doesn't add up anymore. Rocket didn't die in the first murder. So it doesn't add up. But I'm like, are these somehow connected? Then who am I? Because again, when I mentioned that in the first thing, that I'm like, well, the person that didn't have their memory was Ultimate Detective Kyoko. So I'm like, there's reasons why it doesn't work. But there's a lot of reasons why something going on like that does work. Or he knows what's going to happen. Like, is this one in purgatory? Are we just reliving this over and over again? Like, he knows exactly how it's gonna go. Anyways, I have no idea at all who did it, but bum bum bum. Ooh, 3 people from the first page is still up. We will be consumed by despair. Did I miss a line? Oh yeah. There's no way we can end this without knowing. We'll be consumed by despair. That's why we have to find out. The person who finished off Nagito. See, I accidentally said finish off when when I was talking about the hope fragments, and I realized don't say it like that. So now Hajime is saying it the same way, so I'm going to say I'm fine. Anyways, only one is left here, but I feel like something's going to happen to her, you know what I'm saying? I wonder if that's chapter 6 though, but I don't know. Again, it would be weird, but Again, literal magic is canon in this, so we'll see. The killer the killer who murdered Nagito. Only 2 left here. In order to return from this despair alive, we need to reach the truth. And if Monokuma said this is really the last class trial, that's all the more reason we need to do this. But then also it would make sense that he didn't kill himself, Nagito didn't kill himself in the act of hope or things like that with Sakura. Instead, he did it for despair. It would be explained why he didn't get that light beam. And so, this life-threatening trial, billowing with hope and despair, the last one, has begun. Oh, yes, I would love to save. Thank you. Skill. Oh, I didn't buy any skills. Oops, I think I didn't have too many left, but, like, points to spend. I might have... I don't know what any of these do, but... Not too late? Okay. Then I'll, when I get out of it, I'll click it. It looks like it's too late. I can't, oh, nope. Oh, it says open e-handbook, right? I can read, guys, I can read. That's my, I can read, but apparently I can't figure out how to use the menu. Okay, yeah, I don't have anything. Well, it's the last class trial. Should I just get something? What is this? Increases jump power. Oh, I don't really need that. What are the ones? Increases your aiming speed. Reduces your aiming speed. Would I want it to increase or decrease? Should I just... Here's my thing. I don't think there's going to be any more hanging out with people. I don't think there is. So I don't think you hang out with it, though. I don't think you hang out with people. Do you? Is that a spoiler? Oh. Okay, fine. I'll save it. I'll save it. We'll save them. I'll save them. Anyways, I think then we're done. You know, I like the word trickster. The trickster, Nagito, was brutally murdered. His unpredictable death has left a looming shadow of mystery in the hearts of Hajime and the others. Who is the traitor? What was the clue Nagito left? Will they be able to see the light within the darkness? Between hope and despair. Okay, so we mentioned Hajime in this, so this is not Hajime's inner monologue like I kind of thought it was. Yeah. I think I set them all.
Now then, let's begin with a simple explanation of the class trial.
So I've been watching somebody play this game up to where I am because they finished it. And what happened though is that they set like 2 skills at the very beginning of the game and then completely forgot that skills existed and just did not add any skills. And I'm like, oh my god. So, fun fact, that was very humorous to me because every single time I'm like, did he do that off camera? And then the answer is no. He just didn't put any skills. Stressed me out, man. Stressed me out. Also, he doesn't look up items. Obviously, I do. And he's like giving bad items to people, and I'm like, oh no. Because I look it up. I look it up every single time. I'm like, I know this is a good item, but let me just double check.
During the class trial, you will present
Yeah.
vote correct. I'll punish everyone beside.
Yeah.
Oh my, Monami? My cute little sister? You're awfully quiet. What's happened to you? You've ascended the ladder of adulthood and reached the moon? Because you're a rabbit?
Yeah, the thing is, I don't look, I understand why he doesn't look it up. I do. But at the same time, oh my god, you're not getting these free time events because he's not giving good items. So he's like, item, and they're like, no. And I'm like, and he was so angry. Oh my goodness, his reaction when Mahiru died was amazing. He absolutely loved Mahiru, so he literally got up, got up and was like, no, I need 5. I need, like, he couldn't handle it. It was so great. He absolutely loved Mahiru. And it was just, but yeah, I don't know, man. Just like not hanging out with people because he chooses the wrong items. It's, anyways. Also, I love his weirdly 3D pixely chair versus like him. Like, you couldn't just draw a chair. Like, why is it this rendering? I don't know if that's the word I'm looking for, but we're gonna go with it.
Chesto!
We didn't have that for a little while. Oh, that's a new emote. Not emote, but sprite.
One more time!
Is she like AFK?
Jeez! How about this one?
Is she just like not there? Is she like unpiloted?
This will be my final blow!
You can't get a free time event with Nagito for the rest of the game? Oh. That's wild. I did not know that. I was between hanging out with him and Sonia, but I'm like, I don't think he would let me hang out with him in the last thing. But that's so weird because I was hoping, I was like, oh, I want to hang out with him before the twist and then after because I wanted to see if his personality shifted. But that's interesting. Yeah, my sibling is like, because she played a little bit of it. I don't think she got back to it. She watched all of the second one, but she didn't get back to playing it. And, oh, you can give him, like, so you can have the event, but you can't, or you can't have an event. You can hang out with him, give him gifts, but you can't do the action of the event. Interesting. Because, my sister went for soda in the first chapter, and that's it. And then could not hang out with Nagato, even so he was locked up, and like she knew where he was, because I guess she watched it. I don't know. Anyways, she's like, you can't hang out with him when he's trained up. You can't hang out with him with blank and blah blah blah. You can't do it. So, huh. Disappointing for her, because I really think that was one of her characters that she wanted to hang out with. Anyways.
It's useless.
Please stop. I feel bad for Monomi.
You're right. Now's not the time for me to horse around with Monami. The class trial has started, after all. The victim this time is Nagito, who was attempting to reveal the traitor for everyone's sake.
I wish I hung out with. I thought Rocco was going to be like the end of the game, so I was like, oh, I was like so cocky. I'm like, oh, he's going to be fine. I'm going to hang out with him though now, and then he died, and I'm so sad because But then you said that you couldn't finish off the events anyways, so I'm not too disappointed. But I do want to hear the rest of his story. Nekomaru just also wasn't my cup of tea. I think if I right where I stand, and obviously there's going to be more. This Bronco is better than a lot of them. Terry is the bottom, and then she moved up a little bit. Hayako. Mikon personality-wise was okay. Game personality-wise, blah. Peiko's blah. Again, not her story, just like they're not really giving me anything, you know. Ibuki I would hang out with if she was alive, obviously. So I think the person I would want to finish is Braka's. I wanted to hear what Nagito had to say. I don't know what Gundam has more, so Sonya I would hang out with more. So she's definitely who I'm going to hang out with, unless she dies. She's the one I'm going to hang out with next. Again, unless she did brutally kill Nagito. I did finish a lot of people's story though, which a lot, which the other game I finished 0, so I'm very happy about that. Sonia and someone else. Are you being ominous or did you forget? Oh yeah, okay. I was like, are you hiding something? Got it. Yeah.
Who in the world killed him? I'm so curious.
If he was killed for trying to reveal the traitor, that traitor is obviously the killer. They were trying to shut Nagito up.
No, that might not be it.
Huh? Are you trying to protect the traitor? They didn't call out when we were in danger.
See, if he's trying to protect the traitor Sonia, just saying.
Wait. Don't tell me you're the traitor.
Don't say something so stupid. There's no way in hell I'm the traitor.
Now that's more like it. Why don't you guys hurry and start arguing already?
The traitor and the killer who killed Nagito is here, right? Part of me also thinks, like, is the traitor just, like, gone? Because they keep being like, the traitor's still alive, and I'm like, does that mean the traitor's not? Nagito has a very bloody ex. Yeah, look at that. It's interesting that they have different individualized X's. Yeah, I also forget that Nekomaru looked like that. I think I'm gotten used to his robot face. Anyways, are they the same person? Or da-da-da, make your argument. Oh, we're in it. Okay, these two, I don't think so. Duct tape, knife. I think one of these three, so I'm gonna go, sure, with survive
Didn't
knife.
tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up.
Never mind.
I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
Oh, wait, I might
The
be.
reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
Okay, torture runs.
Because the killer tortured Nagito.
Oh, but that's a disagreement.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
God, my brain. Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? No. Were the wounds on Nagito's body really caused by torture in the first place?
The killer didn't take.
Yes. Both of Nagito's legs were taped with rope, tied with rope, and each rope was tied to a nearby pillar, which prevented him from moving. His thighs were also covered in a lot of stab wounds. Okay, so that means nothing to me. The survivor knife that... No, okay, we're talking about his hand. I don't think that has anything to do with anything. Duct tape. Nagito's mouth was covered in duct tape, however the blood that was splattered on his face wasn't under the duct tape. The tape itself had a lot of crinkles in it, as if Nagito was desperately moving his mouth from underneath it. See, these are agreements. This I don't think that's going to have anything to do with this. I don't think this has anything to do with it either. I've already forgot that I had to do trial stuff. Okay, the killer didn't. Okay.
I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
I agree.
The reason Nagito's
I guess.
body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
What's Monokuma's account? Sorry, what's Monokuma's account? Ah, he knew all along that the bombs were fake. I guess. But he never revealed it to anyone. I feel like that isn't.
What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
That's, yeah, I don't know. Okay. Okay, God, my brain hasn't been prepared for this. Whoever tortured Nagito did not know the bombs were fake. And then that means I'm not a suspect.
Damn it!
No, I made a mistake. I need to think about it one more time. God, I don't know. I thought the first one's supposed to be easy.
They were torturing him.
It probably is, I'm
The
just...
reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So this, again, this is a negative.
That's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him?
We wouldn't do
Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
a
So, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
no, we don't have something
That
for
was
that.
Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence.
Hmm.
There's no way I'd torture someone.
Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? It doesn't. It doesn't say. But all of the things we already seen and we have, so I don't think we need to absorb anything. Why did the killer have to torture Nagito? No. Were the wounds on his body really caused by torture in the first place? I feel like this is then the thing we figure out. Were they torture? But that's what our bullet literally says
Killer
it
didn't
was.
take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
See, this should
Nagito's
be an
body was
agreement.
covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
See, this is an agreement.
That's why he was so
So that was
beat
an
up.
argument.
What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place. If so, the suspect is whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
I found it by coincidence.
See, coincidence might.
There's no way I'd torture someone.
Yeah, okay. Thinking. The bombs then shoot it at torture, but then that wouldn't break it because they're not a contradiction. What are we contradicting here? Okay, let me figure it out. Wait, we're struggling, man. I'm struggling. It's the first fucking question. Okay. Our agreement. He was tortured. That we were told. But that's a disagreement. No offense, dude. I'm trying to think of a one simple question. The very first of the trial. No, I'm kidding. God. I'll tell you who I predict if you can tell me what's the answer to this question. It's the first question. It's the first fucking question. My prediction is, in short, is that he killed himself. That's my prediction, because there's a lot of hints to the previous game in the previous game, but I feel like there's definitely more to it. It's a little too easy. And they mentioned poison, and they didn't mention the cause of death. So I feel like there's going to be more to it somehow. However, Nagito, it looks like in some way, shape, or form, he was forced to hold on to the spear, and if he let go, he stabbed himself. In short, that's what my mind's at. And since they mentioned the previous game, the last trial being a suicide, this is the last trial. I think it's still a suicide. That being said, I don't know the rest of it. Were the wounds on Nagito's body really caused by torture in the first place? The answer is yes.
The killer didn't take
To our
Nagito's mouth to
knowledge,
shut him
yes.
up. I'm telling you, they were
But
torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured
See,
Nagito.
this is a contradiction. This is a contradiction.
So that's why he was so beat up.
But we can't contradict that.
What were they trying to find out by torturing him?
So, would it be
Definitely
weird
the
if
bomb's hiding place.
I like... Oh, I didn't get it? Oh, okay, I can't.
If so,
Oh,
the
wait.
suspect
Can you only
is whoever
take...
found the bomb first.
Okay, you can only
That
take...
was Fuyuhiko.
Yeah. Okay.
I found it by coincidence. There's no way I'd torture someone.
Okay. Okay, so we got... He was tortured. I want to agree to that. So... Do I take he was tortured? But then why wouldn't... Because my truth bullet is the frickin' torture wounds. I missed my truth bullets. Torture wounds. So you would think that he was tortured would be the same thing. No. Were the wounds on his body... See, it seems like we're supposed to think they weren't. I'm going to literally die on the first question. Anyways, the Nagito's body was really caused by torture in the first place.
The killer didn't take Nagito's mouth to
This
shut him up.
isn't correct.
I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
It's because the killer tortured Nagito.
Look through my I did look through my options.
So that's why he was so beat up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
See, the hiding place isn't correct because
So
I used this being the bombs are
is
fake.
whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
Nah, I missed that. So unless
I found it
it's
by coincidence.
There's no way I'd torture someone.
oh, okay, well that didn't hit anyways. The only thing is because the torturing seems to be correct. But the reason why I'm thinking it's the torture is because think about it carefully. Because they're pointing out that the wounds are here. So I'm assuming we're supposed to look at the cuts.
The killer didn't take Nagito's mouth to shut him up. I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
The problem is I don't know what the question is. Because, so torture wounds, I read this. And it didn't work when I shot... Did I shoot this one? So survival knife didn't do it. It just says that it was caused by this knife, so that has nothing to do with it. The plushie has nothing to do with it. The panels had nothing to do with it. But I can look at them just to be safe. See, I think these are all going to be about something else. I love that you're like, oh man, this idiot. Oh, no, I'm kidding. That's not what you're saying. But that's what I feel in my heart. No, I'm kidding. See, these I think have to do with the fire, what tripped it. This I have no fucking clue. Same with this. This is about fire. And then we got his account, which they were fake. That did not pan out. I shot that at whoever found the bombs first. So unless I shoot to agree with Fujihiko, which I tried, but I could have dismissed it. Yeah, those were it. But torture, this one is it seems to be the one that is the most prevalent in this case, but duct tape would have proved he was getting tortured, but we're disagreeing.
Because the killer tortured Nagito.
See, this is a disagreement.
So that's why he was so beat up.
So it's like, I'm not disagreeing, I'm agreeing. He got tortured, he was moving his mouth. Now this doesn't work,
If so, the suspect
because I shot that one.
whoever found the bomb first.
That was Fuyuhiko.
That could be wrong. Whoever found the bomb first, so unless that is this.
There's no way I'd torture someone.
I think a lot of people said that the Danganronpa 2 is their favorite one. At least that's what I heard back when they first came out. I heard a lot of people liking Danganronpa 2. Danganronpa 2, because I've heard so much about it, and actually one of the reasons why I knew the first killer in the first game was because of a post I saw online. And I've been looking for it since I started playing Danganronpa. And it was talking about like, oh, so many people talk how great the second one is, but people don't talk about how great the first one is. The first kill was like this, and in Japanese was like this, and blah blah. And so that's how I wasn't surprised Sayaka ended up the way it did, because I remember seeing it back during that post. It was an image of her scene, so I do remember that post. So like even back then, people were talking about how good the second one was. Even the third one's better. Here's my thing. I don't want to play Danganronpa for a year straight, so I want to take a break between this one and the third one. But I did look at the characters that are in the third one. Not like any of their details, just them. Because my sister is watching someone play Danganronpa 3 right now. And I kind of got a low-key spoiler because I recognize their faces. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm seeing them everywhere. I'm like, oh no. Anyways, I'm going to try shooting things willy-nilly.
I'm telling you,
The reason Nagito's body was...
it's because the killer tortured Nagito.
So that's what were they...
But yeah, you can keep talking. Oh wait, no, I shot that one.
So,
Is whoever found the bomb first.
No, it's not that one. Did I say something wrong? If they tortured Nagito to find out the bomb, then whoever found the bomb is the suspect. Looks like I made a mistake. Gotta think it over one more time.
The killer didn't take Nagito. I'm telling you,
the reason Nagito's body...
it's because the killer.
So we agree with that. So that's...
the bomb's hiding place. If so,
I feel like
That was
we're
Fuyuhiko.
disagreeing.
I found it by coincidence.
No, okay. Oh, that's an agreement anyways. Oh, fuck that. Killing Harmony is much harder to avoid spoilers than all the other games combined. When did you play for the first time? Because when I played this game, or almost half a year ago, over half a year ago, when I started playing, I only ever had vague years-old memories of Danganronpa. I had no new things. Then I knew that there was a trans character, and I'm trans, so I wanted to, well, a trans character, open gender a character, and I wanted to know how they were dealt with. So I watched until the end of the second trial, because I did not want to start playing a game where I just got mad. Because I thought about it for a while. I saw some people started playing it, and then somebody I follow started playing it, and I'm like, oh, I want to know. So I watched them because I knew they were going to be super duper respectful. One of the people there is openly LGBT, and I was like, or I guess LGB. He isn't trans, but LGBT or queer in some way. So I wanted to. I wanted to know how it's dealt with because I did not want to get in. I'm a Kane. Anyway, I got distracted by myself. I wanted to know how it was dealt with. I did not want a transphobic game, especially one that came out in 2010-ish. It could have been horrible. So I wanted to know how it dealt with it, and it dealt with it. It felt like somebody was like, haha, gender, without knowing anything about the trans community. But also cultural differences between here and Japan, huge difference. So, but then I wanted to play it, and I kind of wanted to be like, I'm a trans person. I want to play trans games. So any game that has a gender open character or a trans character, I'm like, I kind of want to play it. So I played like Tell Me Why and stuff, which is just Life is Strange. It's the same game, guys. It's the same. I know it's the same creators, but I'm like, I don't know why it's not part of the Life is Strange series. But that's a whole different argument that I do have arguments for because I feel like they really did not put out Tell Me Why. Like I waited for Tell Me Why to come out, and I was like, I'm waiting, I'm watching, I'm like, I want to play this game. It was until chapter 2 or 3 or something was getting released, and I'm like, the first 2 are out, and they're like, oh yeah, by the way, they're all out. I'm like, wait, now they're like the next week they were all out, and I was like, fuck you, because I'm like, I was waiting for it. I was waiting for this game to drop, and I heard nothing. But that might have just been me. I might have just been out of the loop. But a lot of people didn't seem to know about it, and people are like, it's different from Life is Strange. I'm like, no, it isn't. Just play it. Because they played all the other Life is Strange games, but they didn't want to play that one because they're like, it's not part of the series. I'm like, yes, it is. Well, it's not, but it's like, it's the same game. If you like Life is Strange, it's the same thing. It doesn't have a lot of endings like Life is Strange 2, but that is completely not the point right now. We're talking about Danganronpa. But the problem, or the thing is, after the trial of the second, the second trial in the first game, Shihiro, Mondo, and Taka all became higher on my list of favorite characters, especially Taka. I was really scared Mondo would have killed not because of jealousy, but because of afraid of masculinity, which could have been an interesting way of talking about it, but I would not trust the writers to have written it that way. I'm gonna be real. It just, again, it seems like someone who doesn't know about the trans community and people dealing with genders and their gender and gender presentation and gender nonconformity, and someone who isn't part of any of it and made this storyline. And I feel like they couldn't have handled it any differently, any better. I feel like the way the gender is perceived or gender is talked about is probably the best that they could have done, which, not saying it makes it any better or worse, but now with Mondo actively killing, lackluster, but Braca can go and die in a hole. That was my, like, okay, we're done here. We're done. Like, I already didn't like him, but we're done here. Like, because to his knowledge, Shihiro was a woman, and he did that to her was completely inappropriate is a very soft way of putting it. Anyways. Hey, if you're gonna agree with me, you really need to back me up with actual proof. It's just a coincidence that I found the bomb. I'm serious. Damn it, it looks like I made a mistake. I gotta think this over one more time.
The killer didn't tape Nagito's mouth to shut him up.
I don't know.
They were torturing him.
Yes.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
So I don't feel like...
Because the killer tortured Nagito.
Okay, I feel like we're not talking about this.
So that's why he was so beat
Yes?
up. What were they trying to find out by torturing him?
But the bombs are...
The bomb's hiding place.
Hmm.
If so, the suspect Is whoever found the bomb first?
No. Okay. I don't know. What do I shoot? Just maybe if you just tell me either which bullet or which one to shoot, I can get it. But the fact that I can't get either. Not my feet, my legs hurt. And I'm terrified of getting leg problems because I take so many shots. It's, well, not so many, testosterone shots. It's like, by the way, you can get a leg clot or blood clot. I'm like, I don't want that. Please. Anyways, please, guys, I'm an hour into this and I don't know what the first question answer is. And if they tortured Nagito, then the first bomb, or they find the bomb, then whoever found the bomb first. Okay. I feel like I'm going farther.
Nagito's mouth to shut him up.
Hmm.
I'm telling you, they were torturing him.
The reason Nagito's body was covered with wounds.
He couldn't get tortured.
Because the killer tortured Nagito.
No, I don't know. God, I don't know. I'm so dumb. No matter how you look at it, Nagito was obviously tortured. Right? God, it's hot in here. Okay. If it's not torture, then what is it? There's no other possibility. Okay, guys, I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna look it up if I don't know this. I don't want any spoilers, but I can't. Please, guys, I don't know. No, that's the wrong. Almost looked up the wrong game because I was thinking about the other one. Danganronpa 2. Basil. First question, man. It's the first question. It's the first one. Okay, thank you. You are a real one, my dude. It's not torture, because we're not disagreeing with it. It is about the bombs. But how? How is it the bombs? Because we know it's fake. So whoever found the bombs first. I tried breaking all of them with this. I'm just gonna do it again.
I'm telling you, they were
The reason Nagito's body.
It's because the killer.
So that's not false.
What were they trying to find? Definitely the bomb's hiding place.
So that we're.
If so, the suspect.
But that's not a disagreement.
That was Fuyuhiko.
But that's not a disagreement.
There's no way I'd torture.
That's not a disagreement. That's an agreement. Is that not an agreement? Am I wrong here? Do I look like a bigger fool?
Shut him up. I'm telling you, they were
The reason Nagito's body.
It's because the killer. No, that's wrong.
Am I an idiot? I'm an idiot! Because what? Oh, I can't.
Confess anything.
The answer was I'm an idiot. The answer is I'm an idiot. He couldn't speak. He couldn't speak. I need some water. Hold on. I'm gonna. 1 second. I figured it out. He couldn't speak. Like I said earlier, I had a headache, so I'm gonna blame that. And also that it's really late.
If he was being tortured for anything, they wouldn't have taped his mouth like that.
He couldn't speak. I'm an idiot. I'm a fool. Anyways.
I'm prepared.
Okay. Give me a Hangman's Gambit. I'm ready for it.
It's a trap.
Why are you here?
Trap?
Stupid Hajime. You got caught in that trap.
Stupid. Oh god. This one with Gundam was hard. I think now will be a torturer.
Said if Nagito's mouth was taped shut, you'd obviously assume he couldn't talk, right? But that was the trap. He wanted to hide the fact that he got interrogated.
No, his blood splatter.
Tape his mouth shut. How is he supposed to answer anything?
Pay attention. This is how it went. First, the killer tortured Nagito and got information about the bomb's location. Killed him. They duct taped his mouth shut.
No, okay, so it is
Whew, that was close,
duct
you
tape
guys.
again.
Thanks to me, you guys didn't get caught in the trap.
See, it's weird. Why is he so defensive? They taped Nagito's mouth after getting information about him. From him. About him. From him. True, that sounds reasonable. But that clearly contradicts the truth. I can't believe I cannot believe I did not catch that. If they had listened to me, or yeah, if he had listened to me until the very end, I wouldn't have to go through the trouble of repeating myself.
Pay attention. This is first.
Okay.
The killer tortured and got information about the bomb's location. Then, after
I did it right anyways.
Those words.
Amazing. Wow.
No, there's no doubt Nagito's mouth was covered with duct tape before he was beat up.
Beat up is a weird way of putting it.
what did you say?
Who cares about the duct tape? Might as well settle this with rock, paper, scissors.
Nope.
We don't need to play a game. It's clear the duct tape was on his mouth before the torture even began.
Why do you always side with Hajime? Do you have a crush on him or something?
Fun fact, when I was playing Super Smash Brothers, or Smash Brothers in some form, in university, I played Ike. And I think people like, why did you choose Ike or whatever? But maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, I always just stood in one place and just like attacked right there because he's not very jump heavy, or forward, I guess, jump forward. So I would, maybe he's more, but I didn't play him like that. So I would just stand in one place. So if somebody realized that if you were slightly far away from me, I wouldn't hit you. What they would do is just jump over me, jump over, because there was like 8 people playing. Jump over me, and I would just kill them, and they would just bob and weave above me, and I didn't even notice until someone's like, why are you protecting this guy? And I'm like, I'm doing what? And it was so funny to me because I was like, I'm just killing people, man. I'm just standing here. People are walking to me, and we're having a one-on-one fight, and they die. And it's great, and I loved it. And then I felt bad, so I started moving around the map, and then I lost miserably. Yeah. Anyways. Are you in elementary school or something? Or my university? Because that's exactly what they said about me and that guy.
You were with us when I peeled the duct tape off Nagito's mouth, right?
Oh, yes.
The blood on Nagito's face wasn't under the duct tape, remember?
The blood on his face came from his arm wounds.
It is weird he has such a horrific face if he did purposely get into the situation.
Which means the duct tape was on his face before his arms were even wounded.
And the duct tape had a lot of crinkles around his mouth. He must have been struggling to open his mouth under the duct tape.
Fun fact, and I learned this in church, depending on how the knife was, you can rip your hand pretty, especially if it's sharp, depending on which way it goes. He could have probably just ripped his hand open. Would it have helped? Probably not. But he could have, because that was a big argument of a bunch of people in my church, the adults in my church. They were like, but if Jesus was crucified like here, the nail would have his body weight was too heavy. You would have slipped right out. That's why people are like, no, he got right here. Because that way, it's stuck. But here, it'll just rip. Again, lovely church. Anyways, I mentioned it a lot just because it was my childhood. I'm not religious, but fun fact.
Perhaps the duct tape was used so we wouldn't be able to scream. Then it's like I said at the beginning. The tape wasn't for torture. It was to keep his mouth shut.
However, if they wanted to seal his mouth, they
Can't-
did not need to hurt him with such ferocity.
I still can't believe I didn't get that.
They probably had a deep grudge against Nagito.
Then,
It won't
are
be
you
a
saying the
random
killer was
person.
trying to make him suffer?
Because at least with the previous game with a random person, it was... We had 2 trials, you know, it was a whole thing. So I don't think they would repeat that, but we're waiting for someone. But
If so, it's friggin' crazy. Did they go psycho or something?
No, they didn't just go crazy. Whoever did this must be one crafty bastard.
I cannot believe I missed that he couldn't speak. Ah, I feel like an idiot.
If not, they wouldn't have taken the time to set fire to the crime scene and destroy all the
Oh.
evidence.
Hmm? The warehouse fire was for destroying evidence?
Was it, or was it to reveal the body?
We can't think of any other reason.
To discover the body.
But who could have done that? When the fire occurred, everyone in this room was gathered in front of the warehouse.
I was supposed to hear my cat meowing. I'm like, dude, I have headphones on.
Yeah. And right after I opened the warehouse door, the flames started burning from the very back.
So, things lined up, lighter, fire. Music? To lure them in there? To have... But no, we were already going... Well, if they didn't know... If they didn't know... I'm not going to hypothesize right now. Clearly, I'm not suited for this.
Which means it is plausible to think that nobody here set the fire.
Anyways, just to finish my hypothesis that way, I was saying... If they knew Nagito said that he was in the warehouse waiting, we would have already went in there. So to have music playing would be redundant. Okay.
The killer isn't one of us. But that's not the case, huh? I mean, it's wishful thinking.
Even if it was only a coincidence, the timing was just too perfect.
Again, I don't know where is the game telling me... Where's the game telling me this is no, like, for real, or, haha, we're gonna trick you. It's like, oh, the killer's one of us. It's like, okay, but what if it isn't one of us? Or the traitor is one of us. Like, okay, but what if it isn't?
Based on the pattern up until now, we should suspect that some kind of setup was used for this. Some kind of setup? Like what? I do not know that, but that has been the pattern before.
That's our Miss Sonia. You have such an amazingly high intellect. Alrighty then. Let's think about this based on what Miss Sonia thinks. Is that okay, Miss Sonia?
Give it up, sweetheart.
Damn right it is!
The reason for the fire, huh? They're right. We need to clear that up first. Make your argument. Oh god, another one of these. Reason for the fire. Reason? The lighter. That's what lit
The
it, but...
direct cause of the fire was the oil lighter found at the crime scene.
Okay,
right?
we're agreeing with that, so...
The killer used some kind of setup.
Yeah, okay,
He
okay.
lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Yes.
Some kind of setup?
Yep.
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
No?
They probably just threw the lighter.
That's an agreement. Blue is agreement. That's gotta be it. Someone must have thrown the lighter. The problem is, if it's possible to do that without anyone seeing you... No, that's not it. We gotta think it over one more time. This is why I said this gotta be a short...
The fire was
short one.
the
Could be
oil lighter found at the crime scene,
two
right?
questions in.
The killer used some kind of setup. He lit the curtain on fire with the lighter.
Yeah.
Some kind of setup?
Did they use the oil as an improvised fuse?
See, this is an agreement. We're not agreeing
Probably
with...
just threw the lighter.
We ain't agreeing with throwing.
Based on the shape of that oil lighter, it can stand upright while the flame is lit.
Yes.
If they tipped over the lighter in some way,
Okay, I should have just let them
it
speak.
could have ignited the curtain.
Yeah.
some way?
Yep.
Maybe they used invisible thread.
So that's an agreement.
There should have been a way to tip it over with sound waves.
No.
Or perhaps opening the door caused.
Yes.
I agree with that.
I agree. I was disagreeing too early, which was an agreement, so it messed that
I
up.
also agree that opening the door is what started the fire.
Just as I thought, it was the wind pressure. A dust devil blown here from glorious Japan.
No, not wind pressure. They probably used the Monokuma panels.
I thought this was going to be a conversation,
A huge number of tipped-over
like,
Monokuma
way
panels
later.
were found at the crime scene, right?
but here we are.
It looked like they were scattered everywhere, but some were laying on top of each other in a single line. Just a single line leading from the warehouse door to the fire's origin.
Does that mean anything?
Imagine if one of them fell and it just poofed out the fire and it just like, oops. Again, I don't know why the fire happened. I really don't think it caused any... Wait, why was... Oh, yeah, why... I thought his hand was... So I'm distracted as all heck. I thought his hand was stabbed because the rope was burned, but that doesn't make any sense because the fire started later, unless they were in there when it happened. Did they just stab his hand for fun? Like he was still tied up and then the fire hit him? I shouldn't be thinking today. Clearly I shouldn't be thinking.
The killer probably arranged those Monokuma panels to create the domino effect.
A domino effect? You mean those tiles kids play with by lining them up and tipping them over?
In place of those tiles, the killer used the Monokuma panels. So when we opened the warehouse door, the first panel toppled into the second.
See, his hand isn't attached to anything. I know it's just a diagram.
And from there, they fell like dominoes until they reached the lighter at the end.
But wouldn't it be obvious that those big panels were falling over?
Ah.
That's probably why they turned off the lights in the warehouse, so we wouldn't notice them.
I thought that was why the music was playing.
So the reason the warehouse was dark
Never mind.
was to hide the domino effect.
Again, poof. My brain.
And one more thing. There was something else the killer did to hide the domino effect.
It was the music. The killer did one other thing to hide the domino effect. Am I going to be correct?
I see!
Ah,
You're talking about the MP3 player, right?
I just forgot the lights were off.
That hymn blaring throughout the warehouse masked the sound of the falling panels.
I mean, it was still kind of obvious. The inside of the warehouse felt even darker because our eyes were still used to the bright sunlight outside. Within that darkness, a loud hymnal blared throughout the warehouse at full volume. Hey, do you guys hear something? Yeah, it's really fucking loud. Did Nagato like listening to this depressing crap? No, I'm not talking about the music. And as if on cue, it suddenly started.
That's it. So the strange sound was actually the sound of the panels falling.
I'm still kind of upset that Akane wasn't the one that died in chapter 3 instead. And I know there was a whole thing with Nekomaru, and I get it, and that was super duper, like, really brought her character to the main story. But, like, oh, I heard something. Is Ibuki. Or have it changed to her in the very first trial. Have her be the one that helps you instead. But then I guess Ibuki didn't really have anything. So it's like, because it's now 2 of the ladies have super hearing, which is kind of weird.
But those sounds weren't the only strange thing, right? Looking back on it, it was also strange when we opened the door to the warehouse.
Yeah, it didn't open.
Ah, so the door was being blocked by a Monokuma panel.
And when we opened the door, the domino effect started, and the falling panels eventually reached the lighter. Yeah, and that's how the warehouse caught on fire. At least, that's how it looks.
You don't look so sure.
At the time, Akane mentioned that she could barely open the door,
Because the panel was blocking it, right?
but the blocked doorway, there wasn't enough space for a person to fit through, right?
Is that a problem?
It's a major problem.
Ah.
I mean, that door was the only entrance to the warehouse.
Yeah, y'all's buildings only having one entrance is good for our story, and it is horrible for fire safety. And now we had a fire. This is the second place that didn't have any other exits or entrances or windows. Also, she's saying, how can you prop them up if you couldn't get out? That the door was the only entrance to the warehouse. I see. So the problem Chucky's talking about is the killer couldn't have left.
I see. If the panel was so close to the door that it could barely be opened, the killer inside the warehouse wouldn't be able to leave, right?
Now that you mention it.
I was like, oh, voice acting. I'm like, yeah, they've been doing that.
Does that mean they were hiding inside?
Who? We were all outside the warehouse, you know.
Based on the patterns
Oh,
up
that
until
does-
now, I believe some kind of setup was used.
That does ruin my idea. It's going to be some convoluted thing. It always is. Well, it's convoluted for me when I'm on this side. It's genius if it happened in real life. But the way it's always like, it's convoluted. Some reason it teeters the line of impressive or thought out to convoluted. I think it's just because, like, there is easier way to do these things, but I don't know. I don't know.
You don't have to think so hard. There's actually only one person who could have possibly done this.
Huh?
You don't mean...
But if that's true, this murder,
Hajime? What do you mean?
or if we were saying it's Nagito right now, I am so wrong, and I fell into their trap, which I'm glad. I think a lot of times I go into it and be like, it's supposed to be shown as this, and it's not. Like, it's obviously it's not. Like the other one, it's like, oh, you're supposed to think it's like Hiyoko, but obviously it is not. So with this, I think I'm glad. I think I'm just so thrown off because, again, it's obvious that it... I thought it was a little obvious, but we also never mentioned it while doing the investigation. So I was like, are we not supposed to think it's Nagito? But now I guess we are, so it's... If that's what we're going at, it's not Nagito, but... There's clearly more. The person who set up the domino effect inside the warehouse. They're the only one who could have done that. Nagito, where's your face? That one was Peko. Oh, look. Usami is still all sad. Well, I guess it's Manami. Manami is also still so beat up. Is she AFK? She hasn't spoken. Is someone just gonna show up, like I mentioned in the first one? Oh, I have a time limit. Anyways, if we're saying it's Nagito, it's not Nagito, unless we loop back all the way around to it being Nagito again at the end.
This is my answer.
But his little drippy, his X.
It was Nagito.
Class trial done. Boom, everyone vote.
Why'd you bring him up? He's the victim, you know.
He wasn't just the victim. Maybe.
Maybe.
Huh?
It's not going to be the case.
Not just the victim? What does that mean?
He was the victim. And he was the perpetrator, too. Maybe.
Are you saying this was a suicide? Don't be stupid.
Okay. Fahiko, you don't have to be mean to me. I tried my best. I couldn't even answer the simple first question that's supposed to be a given. Okay? Don't be mean to me right now.
His body was covered in torture wounds. Or did you already forget?
Are you saying those were all self-inflicted?
But Nagito might do something like that, don't you think?
That's not the issue. He was tied up, remember? Even for a creep like Nagito, it'd be impossible for him to tie up his own arms and legs.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, as long as you understand.
The flame. Okay, if I was Nagito, and I went, and I set up all the domino effects, I lit the lighter, or maybe I did the whatever curtain lighter. I go, I tie up my legs, I tie up somehow my one arm. I'm assuming a slip knot or something because that's the only one I can think of that you can tie with one hand. A little slip knot, so it's like whoop, onto your wrist, and then that you can also do it with the other wrist too, if you can just hook it in there and pull. Slip knot. So if you did 3 of your things, stabbies. Oh, I guess you could have cut, hand, slip, stab, and then slip. Obviously this isn't correct, because obviously, well, not, they are only 3rd question in. For us, it's been 2 hours. But clearly that is incorrect. But you can tie yourself up. Slip knots. They're a miracle. Well, they're the devil. But they're a miracle.
It seems we need to discuss how Nagito was able to tie himself up.
Slip knots are also, though, would then have some, you would have some give. But if you try to tie yourself up, okay, if you're kind of willing to do that, you gotta give somewhere, you know? Anyways, I know how to do a bunch of knots because I do crochet and knitting. And obviously, I also did like neckties. So I can tie a necktie, slip knot, magic circle, something else that you do in crochet and knitting, and all these other kind of like knots. And so I figured out those, and knots are so weird. Like, I love the art of knots because it's like, you got some string, you got some rope, you got some whatever. How about you knot it? And then, like, we just studied, like, yes, this is an effective way of moving one giant string. Or 2, if you're tying them together. I just hit my mic. 2, if you tie them together. Anyways, I got distracted here.
Need to discuss? That's not necessary at all. No matter how much you think about it, it's clearly impossible.
Like he said, it seems impossible if you think about it, but I feel like I'm overlooking something. Make your argument. Burnt?
To actually tie up your own arms and legs. That's obviously impossible.
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
How about if you use your teeth? Or if you use your front tail?
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
If your assumption is that Nagito committed suicide is correct, Nagito should have tied himself up too. That's okay, right? I mean, it's not okay.
Actually tie up your own arms and legs.
Yeah.
That's obviously impossible.
Okay.
Tying just the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
It'd be impossible if you were by yourself.
Okay, it's impossible if you're by yourself. Nope. Is there a way to tie your arms and legs by yourself? If so, I'd like for you to explain it to me. Try demonstrating it right now, you dumbass. No, I made a mistake. I need to think it over one more time. Okay, that means I got the wrong thing.
That's obviously obviously impossible.
What did I had burnt rope
Tying
out,
just
right?
the legs is one thing, but tying both arms would be impossible.
Is this the first one?
You couldn't do much with the free arm.
Oh,
It
well,
would be impossible if you were by yourself.
can't do much with a free
How about
arm.
you use your teeth?
Yeah, we
Or
don't
if you
need.
use your
Dirty joke! Is that a dirty joke?
I don't think we use his teeth. My assumptions, that's okay, right? I'm gonna shoot the...
Tie up your own.
Okay.
No, that's wrong.
I think it's because of the second part that's incorrect. And if I'm right.
Hold on a sec. Isn't that premise flawed?
What? I mean, it's no mistake that his arms and legs were.
No, it shouldn't have been both of his arms.
But wasn't Soda saying if both your arms are tied up? And I'm like, no. And he's like, they were. And our argument is that if both of his arms were tied up. Am I incorrect here? Right, I think I just need to go to bed. Man.
The rope on his right arm was completely burnt up. Based on that, you can't say he was tied up.
That was just burned by the fire.
And also, it's
He
not a
was
slip
tied up
knot,
before then.
but technically. Also, then what about the, knife?
It burned because of the fire. Like you said, it might look like that. But that was part of the trap. There's concrete evidence that proves it.
His sleeve wasn't burned. The proof that the burnt rope on Nagito's right arm is a trap was his right
I
sleeve.
see.
Hell yeah.
Take a close look at his right sleeve.
I get one right. Yes. Nailed it.
Even though the rope was burnt up, his sleeve wasn't burned at all. Wouldn't you agree?
Sadly, I'm only going to stream for like 5 more seconds because I gotta go somewhere tomorrow. So, and I know I'm very, very, very close in, but it's not going to be very much longer. Even though the rope was burned, yeah.
A burn like this, no matter how you think about it, is unnatural. That rope was burned in advance so it would look like it was burned in the fire.
Then Nagito's right arm wasn't tied up, right? He was able to move it freely, right?
Yeah, that should be the case.
Hajime, that's awesome! I'll let you cop a feel if you want.
Akane, you should not give it away for free. Make sure they pay you first.
Sex work is real work. So, Sonia isn't incorrect. But also, Akane is incorrect in this situation. Not incorrect. She's allowed to do whatever the hell she wants. Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a lot to this, and I am not ready for it. Not what Akane said, the trial. You're right about the trial. But anyways, God, I told you, I'm watching The Golden Girls, and I'm on one of the episodes where Blanche gets, harassed, I guess, by a teacher. And she's like, the professor of this class, he wanted me to sleep with him to get an A. And I'm like, oh boy, this is 80 something. I don't remember what year that was. And I just remember that in my university there was one professor that none of the girls would go to by themselves because he was so creepy. He was never to the point where he explicitly said anything like that, but he would make some remarks, and I hated that guy so much. Anyways, point is, oh boy. But anyways, point is, Akane can say something like that, but because of her sexuality is based in trauma and abuse and harassment, she no longer, as a character, feels in charge of her own sexuality versus someone like Sonia, where she can say something like this, and even if she has done something like this, she feels more in charge. Again, I didn't play her backstory. Feels more in charge of her own sexuality than Akane does. That I want to make it very clear. Sexuality and saying that stuff like that is totally fine, and you can make women characters that are sexual. But Akane, her whole sexuality, her whole everything is based in her trauma. Is like even her side plot of getting massaged by Nekomaru was literally was tainted by her telling us that her mom's friends or coaches or would do that. Would it, it ruins everything. It ruins her whole thing. It ruins all of it. And if Sonia was like, "Oh, well, I was forced to let them do this, but I was paid," and it takes away her freedom of her sexuality. You see what I'm saying? And obviously, it's not exactly the same. It's not a one for one. I don't know if that makes any sense. Obviously, my brain is not in it to win it right now, but I want to make it explicitly clear that women can and should feel powerful in their sexuality, no matter how sexual they are, if they are the ones that are fully in charge of it. Okay.
That's definitely wrong.
Fine. I just gotta get a Benjamin from him before I let him touch me, right?
That's not what I meant. I'm talking about Nagito. I mean, even if his right hand wasn't tied up, the knife was still stabbed into it, you know?
You know, what's the... Is this an argument?
It's impossible to stab a knife into your right hand with your right hand. Ah, that much is obvious.
Hajime, you tricked me. Give me back that Benjamin.
Not only did she try to charge me, now she wants the money back? What the heck?
Hold on. There should be a way.
Nah, I still think you owe her. How much is a Benjamin? $10?
Then hurry up and spill it.
I don't know. I don't know what? Is a Benjamin really... I don't remember who's on what bill. Is that important? Andrew Jackson can go die in a hole, so...
If it's something lame, I'll make you give back the Benjamin with 10,000% interest.
I can't wait until, like, tomorrow where I'm like, wow, I was so dumb doing this when I think back on it. Anyways, a way to stab yourself in the right hand using only your right hand. Yeah, I'm going to stop it here. I'm not... God, I'm not prepared. You're doing good? Yeah, you're fine. Save. Yep, we're saving. We're not dealing with this. We're not going to try to... How did we stab ourselves? I'm not dealing with that. God, that would be way too much. Hopefully I'm better. Not sick. I'm just out of it. Hopefully I'm not out of it next week. I already forgot to save my video, and I oh god, from like 2 times ago, and anyways, I'm taking a break. Well, it's not a break. I'm gonna leave. I gotta get up tomorrow. It is far too late. Okay, I'm gone. I'm leaving. I'm gone. Goodbye.